Hello everyone, this is Lye Yosh. Welcome back to Life Study Library. Today we're going to be talking about things that you can do in the morning that will ruin the rest of your day. What do I mean by this is that our concentration, our focus, our efficiency, alertedness, these things are all stored up at the maximum capacity in the morning for a lot of people. And these things slowly deteriorates as time passes. It's like the same thing with phone batteries. After it's fully recharged, the battery is at 100%, and then the percentage slowly decreases as time passes. It's the same thing with concentration. For a lot of us, we actually have the greatest intensity of concentration and focusness in the morning, right when we wake up. However, this concentration and the productivity that leads because of this can be easily altered by various factors of negative stress. Right when you get out the door for work, your spouse says something mean to you, or on your way to work, you bump into someone and they cuss at you, or on your drive there, someone cuts you off, and after you arrive at work, your mean boss comes up to you and says something annoying. These things all lead to the deterioration of the focusedness and the concentration that you had before, and this will permeate so that you'll become unproductive throughout the entire day. So the point is, if you feel negative stress at the beginning of your day, you're going to be unproductive for the remaining part of the rest of your day. But then all the examples that I showed you before are external factors, stress created by someone else. And there's not really much you can do to mitigate this. Well, I probably shouldn't say this. There is a way to mitigate negative stress created by someone else, but more importantly, there are things that you do in your life unintentionally that is causing negative stress and is making you unproductive for the rest of your day. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. There's actually 4 things that you might be doing unintentionally that is causing negative stress, and in this video I'm going to be talking about one of them. As for the rest of them, I'll talk about one each week. So this video is going to be essentially an introduction of me talking about the first thing on the list. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of you, and I mean a lot of you, are doing this unintentionally that is causing you negative stress, which is drinking coffee immediately after you wake up. Pretty interesting, isn't it? Likewise, in this channel, I talk about these interesting scientific and psychological information by implementing data from scientific studies. So if you're interested in watching this and want to watch more of my content, then please subscribe to my channel, and I highly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get into it. So today's study is done at the University of Oklahoma, which took 96 total samples. And what the study did was that they asked the samples to abstain completely from caffeine for 5 days, and instead took caffeine capsules that had either 0 milligrams, 300 milligrams, and 600 milligrams. So they took 3 different capsules, each with different dosage. And then on day 6, samples took caffeine capsules that had either 0 milligrams or 250 milligrams of caffeine. But what's different is that they took it at 3 specific times of the day: 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 6 p.m. And then they did this for a total of 4 weeks. So the samples spent 5 days drinking 3 different caffeine capsules with 3 different doses. And then on day 6, they took 2 different caffeine capsules with different doses at 3 specific times during the day. And then they repeated that for a month. So the study wanted to know how taking caffeine at different times of the day altered the cortisol increase. A cortisol is basically a stress hormone that allows the human body to tense up and be alerted in case of an emergency. This became a thing back when we were monkeys, in a situation where a predator was approaching us. We needed to use whatever energy that we had stored in our body to run away. And cortisol helps us tense up our body and, get us ready to take on a challenge. In the modern sense, like it helps us prepare for the test or go to the meeting or talk to the boss, whatever. And cortisol, they actually start stimulating and starts increasing before we wake up, like at 20 minutes or so, 20 minutes before we wake up, something like that. This is a good thing because cortisol helps the body to get ready for the day. They help us, motivate the body to do the best. So back to the study. The researchers wanted to know if taking caffeine at different times of the day, changed the duration or the intensity of the cortisol increase. And the results turned out like this. So the researchers concluded this as the long-term elevation of cortisol leads to depression and altered central nervous system response to this, for example, declarative memory, and caffeine intake had a significant impact on the increase of the level of cortisol. What this means is that although increasing cortisol leads to our body being alerted and ready to take on the challenge, it has to subside as time passes. Because the fuel for the increase in cortisol is created by sacrificing other parts of our body and other functions of our body, for example, declarative memory. The declarative memory is basically the long-term memory, the part of our brain that stores the data and the facts. So for example, if your favorite restaurant closes at 8 p.m., that's a long-term memory. That's a declarative memory. And if you can accurately recall this memory, you can make decisions like when to get ready, how long of a drive it's going to be, or what you need to do right now to make time for it. And you can make accurate decisions if your declarative memory functions properly. But if the cortisol is stimulated and it stays at a very high intensity, you're not going to be able to make accurate decisions because your focus and your alertedness is towards something else. Remember the time when your body was really tensed up and to some extent you were panicking? You weren't able to recall the most basic information. This is because the part of your brain that's in charge to store information and make decisions based on these information, this part was sacrificed in exchange for the alertedness of your body that just doesn't disappear. And the reason why the cortisol isn't disappearing or subsiding is because you drink coffee right after you woke up. By doing this, you are unintentionally spending the entire day being alerted for nothing, in exchange being unproductive. But I'm not saying that you should completely abstain from coffee. I'm just suggesting that you should wait a little bit before you sip your first coffee of the day. And a lot of you might be thinking that you should drink coffee in the morning than the afternoon. And that is true. If you were to choose between the two, you should definitely drink coffee in the morning than the afternoon. But it is said that you should be having your first sip of coffee around 60 to 90 minutes after you wake up. So if you wake up at 7 a.m., your first sip of caffeine should be around 8 to 8:30 a.m.
Another thing you can do is to take a short nap right after you drink coffee. This is because caffeine takes about 20 to 30 minutes until it gets absorbed into your body and has an effect. And by the way, this is assuming that you wait for at least an hour until you have your first sip. For the exact reason I explained to you before. What you can do is you start working in the morning and you drink your cup of coffee, or you can actually skip your morning coffee, wait until late in the morning until you're finished with a portion of your work or something, and then around 10 or 11 a.m. or so, have your cup of coffee, and then right after, take a 20-minute nap. This way, your caffeine absorption is still within the morning. And then if you take a 20 to 30-minute nap right after, you're going to wake up fully charged and ready to go for the afternoon, thanks to the caffeine being fully absorbed into your body. It also didn't say specifically in this study, but I feel like this is highly versatile, and you not only can do this with your career work, but you might also be able to do the same thing with stuff like exercising. So you do the same thing before you go work out at the gym in order to perform the best. Or if time allows, you might even be able to do the same thing right before a test or something, so that again, you can perform the best.
So yeah, that was basically everything that I wanted to talk about in this video.
The other stuff from the list, I'll be posting one each week. And you're going to be able to access the second video that talks about stuff you can do that ruins your morning next week around the same time, same day.
And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say besides the usual. Please subscribe to my channel where you can find my other contents and my other videos, and I will appreciate your generosity very much. Alright, I'll see you in the other video. Bye.